There are two things in this world that I love. It's short video games and free stuff. But if I were to have a third thing, I think it'd have to be kinda hot men who are arguably vaguely British. And I know that whatever I just said was not very clear, so I'll just come out and say it. Today on Free Games, we're talking about A Date with Death. I passed this game up about 10 different times on Steam because it looked pretty stupid. But I was bored and I thought that playing Emily is Away 3 for my Emily is Away series was going to take way too long, and then I sunk 2.5 hours into this game, so that's how that goes. Hi everyone, Editing Axel here. I was just playing the game again to get some footage, and I realized that this game actually has a lot more bad words in it than I remembered. But secondly, it's also a lot cringier than I remember. So just keep that in mind whenever I say it's appropriate. You remember, okay, there's like all the bad words in it, just not explicit sexual content, I suppose, because this game is chock full of innuendos. And when I say that it is fine, it's a lot more cringy in retrospect. Yeah, I don't know. It's not bad still, though. So Date with Death is a dating sim, a text simulator like Emily is Away, but also not like Emily is Away at all. I have found myself stuck in this genre over and over. It is my burden to bear. So the basic plot: your character is a person who spent all of life being able to withstand insanely severe accidents, disasters, and predicaments without ever getting hurt. Fires, hurricanes, earthquakes, houses with you in them burning down, pianos nearly falling on you, nearly getting hit by cars. No matter what, you emerge unscathed, untouched, scratchless. And then you text and video call this one singular anime man who downloaded malware onto your computer to contact you, who was like, "I'm a Grim Reaper and I'm here to take your soul." And you say, "You're cheesing me." And he goes, "Am not." And then you two make a bet. You have 1 week. If he can take your soul in that 1 week, then duh, he wins and has your soul. If he can't, you get to take his soul and you win, I guess? Which, I just have to wonder how that works. How can you take a Grim Reaper's soul? But that doesn't matter. What matters is love. Anyhow, then you can do some dialogue choice stuff that will determine the outcomes of the story. You flirt, or not flirt, or whatever, and you go through all the chapters and you see what happens to you in the end. So first of all, this game actually had a lot more put into it than I'd expected, but yet I was still disappointed. Because the ad, it features very bright, contrasting colors with very sharp and very interesting animation. It's very intense and bold, and I love that kind of art and animation style, so I was all over that. It was what made me hover my mouse over this free game more than once. Only to find out that the actual game had like none of that aside from a 20-second intro. Either way, you get a character creator in game, which obviously I'm going to be all over. Yeah, the character creator isn't insanely expansive, but it has all that you really need. Like I said, it's anime. But it's a pretty decent anime. And the style reminded me a lot of Rinmaru Games, which is a site that I don't think exists anymore, and I love that. Because I love character creators and all that, and I was able to make a pretty accurate version of myself. And not only that, you can change your character every single chapter, which was fun because I changed hairstyles and outfits and accessories every day to match real life or whatever. And you can pick a pet and do minor customization and decorating of your room and just making your little studio apartment / just bedroom of your apartment look more yours. And you can interact with your pet and make a bit of a pet lore off of your choices you can have, like when did you get your pet? Have you had other pets before? All that stuff. You can add a status or whatever you like onto your chat site, and that can be about 20 characters long, which is sad, but it also does nothing for the plot. The in-game music is like lo-fi, and it's honestly pretty okay. It reminded me of Kai Dreams for better or for worse, but it was nice, and I didn't mute it or anything, so that says something. So already there's a lot more going on than just being a chat simulator. But even when you go onto your laptop, you have 5 different things that you can do for fun on there. You can play Wordle or the dinosaur game, and this other game that I, for some reason, can't remember. You can draw pictures on a paint document that has a really nice palette. You can look into the logs of behind-the-scenes art. You can look at a random thing on the internet that shows you, like, cats or whatever. It's just that there was a lot of detail put into this game. Even in the chat log, you get these, like, really uncomfortable pop-up ads in the corner, which is like, dang, you really cared enough to make me have to look at that crap. The story of this game is really not that bad. I actually got a bit invested. I think that each chapter did take a little bit too long. I don't really like how slow some aspects were. It was trying to not be, like, a super short game, and I get that. But it took, like, the first whole half of a chapter. You get like your chat session, then your video session, then a chat session. Sometimes you get 2 video sessions, and you get like through half of that before you finally will get this, entire chapter long teased like plot reveal, but it's just said in a very webtoon-esque way, and that was really annoying because it just felt like I was a little bit wasting my time and trying to be long for the sake of it being long. But the overall pacing was actually pretty good. I only played this game for 2.5 hours, but it felt like I had lived that entire in-game week. And you grow attached to this character in a pretty organic way. That is, if you like him at all. Then we have our character, Grim, I guess I'll call him. I almost really liked him. His writing was not that bad, but it was very fan fiction-esque. Like, what would you expect from an anime dating simulator, I guess? I didn't mind most of his tropes, aside from the fact that you could tell that they were tropes, because I don't like it when you could just know, oh, well, that's a trope. But the tropes that they picked were mostly fine. Except for just calling him baby girl and being like, oh, baby girlified, all the time, simply just because he's an edgy guy. And I hate when people do that. I find it to be really disrespectful to very gritty characters. And that's even more of a reason why I will not get the DLC, because they very much lean into the baby girlified, cutesy aspect of the character, giving him like kawaii hair clips and making him look and act a great deal more feminine. And that's just... He has one plushie. No, he's not a plushie sweetie pie. Just let him be how he is. I can't stand how we have to overhaul cutesy or soft spots and brittle characters to the point where it ruins them. Because you originally liked them for their brittleness and you just ruin it. His character arc was pretty solid, though, but it did seem to slip and slide back and forth between the chapters if he was inexperienced with humans and not really know what was going on, or being, like, way too adaptable and, like, deep diving, and it seemed weird that his immediate thing that he latched onto was, like, weeby anime stuff. Again, this is an anime guy, so I get that that's where the story would lean, but it was a bit weird, and it didn't seem like it would match his actual character. I feel like that wouldn't be what he immediately latched onto, especially because he has like a rock poster in his room and like these like skull things. I feel like he would get more into music quicker, but then he's like commissioning artists to make him little anime emoticons, and I just felt that was weird. It felt like there was two writers doing push and pull game the entire time for who got the reins of what this character's supposed to act like. That in your dialogue selection was honestly very limited. And what surprised me a lot more was that it didn't really let you choose options that often, and if you did have the option to, they were usually basically the same option. It was more that you got to watch what was happening, but the story was good enough that it didn't bother me too much because I just want to know what's happened. But what it did result in is that it made your flirting options just be like, ooh, let's fluster him or let's tease him, which again, some people are into that stuff, some people like that. I just don't. I don't want to be like that. I just want to be nice. So I tended to pick the most genuine or nice options as much as I can, but even then, the choices that you do make still end up mattering a lot, so I guess I liked that. Overall, this is a pretty good game. I liked that it was mostly clean, and not an inappropriate game overall, aside from the annoying game flip-flopping of deciding whether or not this was a singular or multiple deity universe in their expletives. I hate that. It seemed much more like a fleshed out and way less dark version of Bloody Painter Simulator. I actually liked this game. It was super cheesy, but it was pretty sweet. I would just like to have to refine a lot more and make it less appealing to the webtoon fanfic trope audience, but also, again, what do I expect from an anime dating sim?